This is the number one killer of wealth, and very few people know about it. They say that the most dangerous risks are the ones that we don't know about, the unknown unknowns. And I don't want that to happen to you. The best way to prepare for serious risks like this is to think about them during rational and calm times. And that's what today's video is about. So I've been a financial planner for over 20 years. I've helped hundreds of clients, people from hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally to hundreds of millions of dollars. And this risk is one that everybody has in common. And if you think, I'm not going to be likely to be subject to that risk, I hate to say it, but that's the number one warning sign, is thinking that you're not going to be subject to risk. So let's jump in. What is this risk? The risk is blowing out of your investments during scary times. And again, if you think you're not subject to it, those are the folks that have the hardest time when things get scary. So, what happens is the market tanks. In the last 15 years, there's been some great examples of scary times, right? The first one was the financial crisis, which bottomed out in 2008, 2009. The market was down, defined by the Dow Jones even the S&P 500, by almost 60%. That's a huge drop, right? And at that point, if you blow out of your investments at the wrong time because you're thinking the financial system's going to melt down, we're living in a post-financial institutional world, and everything's different. And so not only are the stocks down, but they're going to stay down, and they're going down more. So I'm going to sell now, and when they're down 80%, that's when I'm going to buy more. That is dangerous thinking. The time to protect yourself from blowing out of your investments, from blowing out of your account, is not when the market's down 60%, but it's when things are calm. It might even be when the market's at an all-time high, right? So that's the risk. And the challenge is, if you blow out, not only are you locking in those low prices, but you could be out of the market for years, right? Let's say you got unlucky. Let's use another example. During COVID, right? The market experienced the fastest 30% drop in history, faster than the Great Depression. That was a really scary time, and you absolutely could make a case that, the world's going to be different, right? This could put us into a depression, and it could have, right? I think the governments, we didn't do everything perfectly, clearly, but the governments did a lot to stimulate the economy, and it was very stimulative to the economy and to certain companies like Apple. People working from home was actually a tailwind, right? Because a lot of us, myself included, had to upgrade our technology, our hardware at home. So for some companies, it was actually a tailwind. Companies like Apple, companies like Costco, companies like Home Depot, because we were all doing projects at home. But if you got scared when the market was down 30% and said, it wasn't that long ago in the financial crisis that the market dropped by 50 or 60%. It's going lower. I'm going to blow out now. The challenge is then, how do you get back in? So that's the issue. Let me tell you who the people are that are most likely at risk of this, because I want you to self-identify if you are. So one of the main challenges for people is when they're changing their risk profile. When you're going from working to being retired, you're going to have a different risk profile, right? Because you don't have the ability to replenish your coffers. So that's one group that's at risk. And the challenge is, when you were working, you may have handled risk very, very well. You may have, in the past, handled the financial crisis well, just stayed the course. I've got good companies. I know what they do. I have a financial advisor that's guiding me through this. It's scary, but I'm not tempted to blow out. During COVID, same thing. I talked to my financial advisor. I'm in an investment club, whatever it is. And you felt comfortable. And so you run the risk of being overconfident because you did well in those last two crises. And that's a good sign that you stayed the course. But remember, your life's going to be different when you're no longer working, when you're not bringing in money. So just be aware that if your risk profile is changing, the next correction could feel scarier. And that's why you really want to think about your asset allocation and have an asset allocation that's designed to protect you from some of the market downturn. And the way you do that is with good, stable, secure, short duration bonds, like Walmart bonds. That I'm not suggesting Walmart bonds. I'm just using this as an example that matures in 3 years. Is Walmart going to be around in 100 years? I don't know. But Walmart's probably going to be around in 3 years. I'm very confident of that. And pay back bonds that they owe 36 months from now. So one of the groups that's at risk is people that are changing their risk profile. Another group, ironically, is the people that are overconfident, the ones that say, oh, I would never blow out. If the market's down 20%, I want to back up the truck and I want to buy more stocks. Those are people, the more sure you are that you're never going to blow out, that's a caution sign. So just be careful. And I'll share with you what you can do to protect yourself later in the video. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, let me take a quick pause here and ask you to hit the like button, the thumbs up. It really does help out my channel. It helps YouTube find other people that can benefit from videos like this. So let's keep going. So what's another group that's at risk of blowing out of their portfolio at exactly the wrong time? If you ever catch yourself thinking, I only need this to work for another 2 years. I only need it to work for another 6 months. I only need this stock to go up by another 30%. The I only need crowd, that is a warning sign when your head is telling you that, by the way. That's not a good way to invest if you only need a trend to continue. But people in that situation tend to get very nervous if it doesn't go in the right direction, right? Recently, cryptocurrency in 2022 had a very rough year, right? In 2021, cryptocurrency, depending on the coin, like Bitcoin was up about 50% in 2021, and it was down by over 50% in 2022. Well, people that came in when Bitcoin was at an all-time high and said, oh, I only needed to go to, whatever level it was, those people were likely the first ones blowing out, or there were some of the first ones blowing out when Bitcoin's price started dropping. So just be careful if you catch that. Other folks, if you tend to think of yourself as one of the smartest people in the room, just being candid here, that's a warning sign. If let's say you're working with a financial advisor and you're thinking, oh, they should have seen this coming, they should have gotten me out of the account. That's not what financial advisors do. We don't have crystal balls. You don't have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball. If you're looking for somebody with a crystal ball, you're going to be sorely, sorely disappointed. Nobody does have a crystal ball, but what you can do is you can make good decisions. You can make rational decisions when the environment is calm and you have the ability to make good decisions. You're not going to make good decisions when you're scared. And when the market, unfortunately, when the market's down even 20%, right? June of 2022, right? The market was down about a little over 20%. And it was a very scary time in the market too. That's when the Fed first started raising interest rates. It was clear that the economy was starting to cool off. Interest rates were going up. The housing market cooled off. It was a scary time, and that's not the ideal time to be making a good decision. So if you consider yourself the smartest person in the room, I'm a pilot. I like flying movies. The original Top Gun had Tom Cruise as Maverick saying, you're holding on too tight. And what tends to happen is people tend to over control. They think they can control the results of their portfolio, or they can work harder to get better results. Unfortunately, it's not more work, it's better decisions that give us better results in the stock market. And then the final people that get hurt, and really, so everybody, if you're in one of those categories, you're at risk. But one of the ways you can minimize the damage is say, if I'm wrong, if I think after COVID the market's going into a depression, or I think the market's going down 50%, and you got out at 30%. One of the things you can do is say, if I'm wrong, I'm only going to stay out until the market comes back 10%. It's super hard to do that, but come up with a plan. If you don't feel comfortable coming up with your plan, work with a professional. Google a fee-only financial advisor. Work with somebody to come up with a plan during rational times, and say if you do go out of the market, first, it's not all or nothing. Maybe you're going to tweak things. It's going to be 10%. It's going to be moving 10% of your stocks into something like bonds. And if after 6 months, what you're worried about happening hasn't happened, you're going to reverse that position so you don't find yourself 2, 3, 4 years down the road still in that position. So have a plan. I can tell you, I've been doing this for a long time, and people say that they're going to follow this plan, but it's really hard to get them to do that, right? During COVID, if you wanted to blow out of the market when the market was down 30%, and let's say you blew entirely out, well, you sure don't like the market when it's only down 10%. And now we can look back and say, oh, look at all these things that the government was doing to help us out, to help the economy. So yes, of course, it's going to be stimulative, but in the time, it didn't feel that way, right? We were all waiting for the second shoe to drop. We didn't know if there was going to be a vaccine. We didn't know how long we were going to be stuck in our homes. So it's really hard to follow that plan. So don't plan on being able to do that, being able to follow that game plan. But it's better than nothing, right? So I'd rather you have a plan than no plan, but know that 9 out of 10 people are really going to struggle to follow that plan. So it's not a safeguard. It's not a get out of jail card free. Again, if you like this video, I want to encourage you to like this video here. This is the #1 wealth killer. This is what I've seen destroy more people's financial plans. Whether you save $18,000 a year, I'm just making up numbers, or $20,000 a year, it's going to have a marginal, it's on the edge, it's going to have a difference in your retirement plan. But if you blow out of the market when the market's down 30, 40, 50%, and it's kind of an all or nothing thing, and then you stay out of the market for a couple years, that's going to have a significant impact on the type of retirement, the type of cash flows that you can count on from your retirement account. So I want to protect you from that. I hope this video was helpful. This is probably the second most important video that I'll ever do on YouTube. And if you're curious and asking, hey, Azul, what's your most important video that you'll ever do on YouTube? That's what this video is up here, titled The Most Important Video I'll Ever Do on YouTube. And it talks about what I think is the biggest regret. And there's no way to undo this if you go down the wrong path. So be sure to watch it. I've done over 100 videos now. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've worked with a lot of people. And this, by far, is the most important topic that I can talk about in YouTube. So I hope you do watch it. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, leave me a thumbs up. It helps other people find my channel, find videos like this. As the kids say, thumbs for likes and subs for love. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And leave me a comment. I love reading the comments. We're building a great community. It's my currency for doing YouTube. I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, I'm Azul, encouraging you to take full advantage of the youth of your senior years. Remember, you're only young once. Let's use our time wisely.